So with just hours before schools open for inland provinces tomorrow, about 5,000 grade 1 and grade 8 learners still haven't been placed in 5 provinces. Overcrowding, poor infrastructure and a lack of proper sanitation are other problems to contend with in the sector. General Secretary for the South African Democratic Teachers Union, SATU, Mugwena Maluleke, joins us now for more on the story. Mugwena, it's great to have you with us on the program, but I do feel like you and I have this conversation every year at the start of a new school year. Let's begin with the issues around placements. 5,000 learners, grades 1 and 8, in 5 provinces that still haven't been placed. What are some of the issues here that means we can't resolve this problem?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers at home, and thank you for having us indeed. And thanks for the question. The challenges we're facing in the education sector indeed around the issue of placement, in particular in Gauteng province, is a matter of concern. It's regrettable that 5,000 learners have not been placed at this point in time. I'm one of the people that have been monitoring and really following up last year in terms of the placement in Gauteng. And I have seen officials working around the clock, working with parents, calling and making sure that the officials from the schools are trained, are sent to the teacher centers in order for them to be able to use the system effectively and efficiently in order to place the learners. However, we continue to have problems because not many of our parents really understand how online application work, and therefore sometimes they don't have the necessary documents that are supposed to be uploaded for the schools to be able to check them so that they are able to place their learners. What is going to be happening from today and yesterday has been that the teacher centers are the centers where they are able to interact with parents, helping them to be placed in the various schools, including those schools that they might not have applied to, in order to alleviate a situation where the learners are not placed at the beginning of the academic year.
So, Mugwena, what you're saying is that, we can't say that the basic education department alone is to blame for learners still not being placed a day before school. There are other issues that are at play. The department, to your knowledge, is doing its best to get it sorted out?
The department, as far as I'm concerned, last year they have done everything they could to make sure that each and every learner is placed. Some of the learners might have not applied, especially grade 1, grade 8 online, and therefore it is our responsibility as a collective, as a society, to encourage each other to making sure that we don't wait until it is too late for application. I personally received calls from parents who says, I have just come from another province, can I still be able to apply for my grade 1 child in Gauteng? And it's not possible because the schools have got to place the learners, they've got to do the planning, they have got to make sure that they are requesting teachers if they have got any additional enrollment in those particular schools. Of course, we are working together with everyone, in particular our management, to making sure that no single learner must find themselves in the street. They have to be admitted in all the schools in Gauteng, and we're hoping that this will not take a week like it has happened in 2021 where we have taken longer. It is not acceptable to have any learner roaming the streets on the first day of schooling. They have to be in the classroom. No,
absolutely, especially given the amount of class time that was lost last year as a result of the pandemic. Issues of overcrowding, Mugwena, poor infrastructure, a lack of proper sanitation. These are all incredibly important issues, especially as we try to go back to the new school year in full swing without the kind of rotational learning that we saw last year and the year before as a result of COVID-19.
Well, I'm very much doubtful if we are going to have a full swing, given the fact that the infrastructure is still the same as it was 27 years ago or 365 years ago. And so the infrastructure is still the same in rural schools. The infrastructure is still the same in the township school. So they may not be able to accommodate all the learners. What their schools are doing is to adopt other approaches of making sure that those learners who are not attending on a particular day, they continue to be learning. The issue of hybrid learning is not taking off the ground. The issue of online schools is not taking off the ground precisely because of other infrastructure as well as our facilities are challenges that we are faced with. So clearly it is a burden that the teachers are faced with because they have got to improvise all the time, teaching learners that have forgotten what they've been taught last year. And we are facing a generational catastrophe if we don't address the issues of infrastructure, but also if we don't move quickly to have hybrid approaches in our country. So we're calling upon our communities and our society to unite in making sure that there's no austerity measures in education, because this is what is going to destroy our education system, which has already been suffering, because we are going to see a number of learners not attending on a daily basis, given the fact that we don't have the necessary infrastructure to be able to comply with the 1 meter in terms of social distancing. But obviously, dealing with this very contagious Omicron is going to be a challenge in 2022, and we're hoping that we can work together with the parents to make sure that indeed we are safe in our schools.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a big job for parents, as you say, Mugwena, pardon me, for teachers, as you say, because they do have to improvise. They do need to make the best of dire settings that sort of parade around at schools, but really don't have any of the infrastructure that you would find in a classroom. That issue that you've just outlined insofar as overcrowding and infrastructure is concerned, coupled with almost 50% lost class time in 2021. How do teachers now embark on the new school year, trying to make up for the previous school year and the lost class time in those kinds of settings?
What the teachers are doing is to work together in a particular school and in a cluster in ensuring that they use the data that is available to them from the previous classes, and the teachers in making sure that they plan the first term in order for them to be able, one, to address the issues of skills and competencies that the learners shall have not been able to cover, and two, to making sure that they are then able to plan the year ahead based on their own professional judgment. In other words, allowing the teachers in the school that particular academic and professional autonomy by the department to ensure that they deal with their unique situation rather than to be imposing what would be called common testing and common planning and so forth, because learners are affected differently. They are dealing with misgivings, they're dealing with stress and so forth, and all those particular things have got to be taken into account in planning and in executing our duties as the teachers, as we be teaching the learners that sometimes they've lost their loved ones, and the teachers themselves as well, so they are affected. So we're dealing with a multiple of issues, and not only the curriculum as we are planning. So the planning ahead was very important. That happened in November last year, and then the teachers and the principals started the schooling on the 5th of January in order to making sure that they take into account what they have covered and what they have not been covered. But obviously, I must add that the teachers are already sacrificing their afternoon, they're sacrificing their weekend in order to address this particular shortfalls that are glaring in the system because of the rotational attendance.
Yeah, a whole range of outstanding issues that we hope to get some clarity on when the Basic Education Minister gives that address a little later on this morning. Mugwena Maluleke, thanks very much indeed for your time. He speaks on behalf of SATU.